breaking stunning upset. Eala and Tjen, knocked out by Tjen and Peter in Guangzhou Open Semifinals. The Guangzhou Open semifinal was supposed to be routine. A victory lap for one of the most consistent doubles teams of the season. Eala, the fiery Filipino prodigy, and Nadia Tjen, the Ukrainian doubles veteran, had bulldozed their way into the semifinals with trademark precision and poise. The final seemed within reach. Fans had already begun imagining a fairy tale ending, but sports, like life, never followed the script. On that humid Guangzhou afternoon, two teenagers, Tjen and Peter, rewrote history. The unseeded, wide-eyed duo from the junior ranks didn't just play the match, they stole it. What unfolded on center court wasn't merely an upset, it was a storm. A story of fearlessness versus experience, of instinct versus structure, of youth against the odds. The anticipation, a clash of generations. Heading into the semifinals, Eala and Tjen were the clear favorites. Their combination of youth and experience was nearly flawless. Ella's explosive baseline power meshed perfectly with Tjen's calm net play. They had dismantled seasoned opponents all week, each one looking more convincing than the last. Across the net, Tjen and Per, two 16-year-olds, barely known outside the junior circuit, stood like underdogs waiting for a miracle. They have been playing with house money, winning 3 straight matches as wild cards, charming fans with their unfiltered energy and raw courage. As the match began, there was a quiet buzz in the stands. Most fans expected a quick 2-set victory for the veterans. Few believed the young duo had a real chance. They were wrong. Set 1, the calm before the shock. The first few games went as predicted. Eala and Tjen opened strong, taking an early 3-1 lead with clinical serves and pinpoint volleys. The chemistry was evident. Ella's fire, Tjen's discipline, everything clicking like a well-tuned engine. But the teens refused to bow. Tjen, small but lightning quick, began reading Ella's angles. Her backhand, return, a weapon disguised by innocence, started finding impossible corners. Peter, tall and poised of the net, turned into a wall, cutting off volleys with fearless precision. At 3:2, the shift began. At 3:3, the crowd leaned forward. At 5-4, Tjen unleashed a forehand down the line that kissed the baseline. Eala barely moved. The teens broke serve, and suddenly they were ahead. With a bold ace down the tee, Per-sealed the set 6-4. The stadium gasped. The scoreboard didn't lie. Between sets, the weight of expectation, Eala sat with her towel over her face. She wasn't angry, just surprised. She glanced at Tjen, who gave her a reassuring nod. "We'll turn around," Tjen said quietly, but the energy on the other bench was electric. Tjen and her were laughing, high-fiving, oblivious of the moment's magnitude. To them, this was just another match. That freedom, the lack of fear, was their greatest weapon. Set 2, a battle of wills. Eala came out, swinging. Her shots grew heavier, her eyes sharper. Tjen tightened her volleys, cutting off every angle she could. The veterans broke early, racing to a 2-0 lead. But then came the comeback. Tjen, barely 5 foot tall, chased down every ball like her life depended on it. At 2:1, she saved 3 break points with breathtaking defense, then hit a looping lob that dropped just inside the baseline. The crowd erupted. "Unbelievable," shouted the commentator. "This girl plays like she has no nerves." From there, momentum flipped again. Per's net play grew bolder, her anticipation sharper. They broke Tjen's, served a level at 3-3. Eala clenched her fist, muttering to herself. The tension in the air was thick. Then came the rally, though, to find the match. 37 shots of pure artistry. Volley after volley, baseline to baseline, drop shot to lob. Every fan held their breath. Eala went for a winner, but Tjen guessed it, sliding to send the ball back with a desperate flick. It clipped the net, dribbled over and died on the other side. Point to the teenagers. The stadium exploded. The collapse, shock, turns to reality. At 44, nerves began to creep in for the veterans. Kit Sheenik double faltered for the first time all match. Eala over at 2 forehands. The young duo broke again, now serving 4. The match at 5-4. Tjen looked nervous for the first time. Her hand trembled slightly as she bounced the ball. The crowd fell silent. First serve, fault. Second serve, ace right on. The line. Her coach left his feet, disbelief written all over his face. Per followed up with 2 stunning volleys. Suddenly, they were at match point. A tried to stay composed. She fired a deeper turn, forcing an error. Match. Point saved. The next rally was long, intense. Then on the 14th shot, Tjen unleashed another backhand missile that clipped the sideline. Game, set, match. Tjen and per 6-4. 6-4. The impossible had happened. The aftermath. Tears, cheers, and silence. For a moment, time stood still. Tjen dropped her racket, hands over her mouth. Pa ran. To her screaming, they fell to the court, laughing and crying at once. The crowd roared, not in mockery of Eala and Tjen, but in all the audacity they had just witnessed. Eala walked to the net first. Her face was expressionless, but her eyes told the story, shocked, disbelief, and respect. She hugged both players, whispering, "You played amazing. Remember this moment." Tjen, always composed, offered her hand with a smile. "You earned it." Reflections. What comes next for Eala and Tjen? The loss hurt, but it wouldn't define them. Eala at 20 still has years ahead, her game evolving with every match. This defeat would serve as a reminder. Talent thrives only when fueled by freedom. In a post-match message, she wrote, "Every loss is a lesson. Every lesson is a step forward. Congratulations to the girls. They played their hearts out, proud to be part of a match people will remember." Fans flooded her comments with encouragement. As for Tjen and Pider, the world suddenly opened wide. Tournament directors lined up to offer wild cards. Coaches and scouts whispered a future. Greatness. The girls themselves, however, stayed grounded. "We just want to keep improving," Per said humbly. "This is only the beginning." Legacy of a match. Long after the lights dimmed in Guangzhou, that semifinal remained the talk of the tournament. It wasn't just about who advanced. It was about what it meant. That tennis still is room for surprises. That youth can defy logic. That belief not ranking decides outcomes. For fans, it was a night that captured the essence of sport, unpredictability, emotion, and courage. For Eala and Tjen, it was a test of spirit and a spark to reignite their hunger. For Tjen and Per, it was the birth of a legend. Epilogue, the torch passes on. Weeks later, a photo surfaced online. Eala and Tjen smiling with Tjen. Endure at the airport, arms around each other, laughing. The caption read, simply, "From opponents to friends, from semifinals to memories." That image said it all in one unforgettable match in Guangzhou. Tennis witnessed the passing of the torch, not through ceremony, but through courage. And somewhere in the stand that day, a young girl watched and whispered to herself, "Maybe one day That will be me. Because that's what upsets do. They don't just shock the world, they inspire it. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share.